For he will conceal me in the shelter of his tent, and set me high upon a rock. Even now my head is held high above my enemies on every side. And I will offer in his tent sacrifices with shouts of happiness. I will sing and chant praises to the Lord. Amen.
Boker Tov, Talmidim, v'Chavarim, my students and my friends. We continue our study of Soulful Psalms. We're going to be doing Psalm 27 this morning. A very important psalm, a very powerful psalm. If you've seen the clip that I intended to be in the front of all of this, you see it's being offered at a burial in the wilderness, and it is invoked as I think the psalm was intended to be. It's a statement of faith in the face of doubt or despite doubt. It's a beautiful psalm, and I'd like to explore it a little bit more with you. What do we know about the psalm? Not a great deal. It's credited to David, as they all are, Le David, but we have no idea. Modern scholars believe that it's really two psalms sewn together, one being from verse 1 to 6, and the rest being being from 7 to 14. Entirely possible. There is a dramatic change of tone between those two sections. I, for one, think the juxtaposition works incredibly well. So I'm perfectly content to believe that the author intended this to be a single psalm that takes us through a journey of high confidence, confrontation with our fears and anxieties and our doubts that God is really with us, but then concludes in affirmations that despite what has happened, despite my current afflictions, that God is there for me. So let's look at some of the features of this psalm, and I will talk to you about them as we go along. So it begins with a very strong parallelism. The Lord is my light and my help, great opening. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Who shall I dread? So you can see the parallelism, the rhetorical question, two rhetorical questions that basically ask the same question and restate the confidence in the second stick in two different forms. When evil men assail me to devour my flesh, it is they, my foes and my enemies, who will stumble and fall. Should an army besiege me, my heart would have no fear. Should war beset me, still I would be confident. Again, nice parallelisms that reinforce each idea as they come. And then it offers a supplication. We've stated our confidence, but then it offers a supplication. One thing I ask of the Lord, or Adonai, only that do I seek. Again, subtle parallelism. To live in the house of the Lord all the days of my life. This is a phrase that echoes back to Psalm 23. I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. I shall dwell in the house of the Lord for a length of days. So this idea is that the temple represents a refuge to the psalmist. To gaze upon the beauty of the Lord, to frequent his temple. He will shelter me in his pavilion on an evil day. He will grant me the protection of his tent and raise me high upon a rock. That's the passage that's being quoted in the film. Lovely passage, and this idea of being lifted above the turmoil of our lives, of being at least granted a reprieve from the difficulties we face. Who doesn't imagine that? Who doesn't imagine an opportunity to retreat from our struggles, from our tragedies, from our burdens? And it is the temple, the tent, probably meant originally to reference the Mishkan, the beauty of the Lord. So we get a number of different images, angles on what it is that the psalmist dreams of. The temple represents a solid structure. The tent represents God moving with us, and the beauty of the Lord represents the divine presence. So it's like wherever I find myself, whatever my circumstances, at home or abroad, I want to take God with me, and I know God will be there. And these are represented by these three different statements, as well as the reassurance that God will be there for me on an evil day. So that's what the initial introduction is. And then once we hit 7, you start hearing a little more doubt and anxiety. O Lord, I seek your face. Do not hide your face from me. So the confidence is cracking. Our sense that God is assuredly there with us day to day, that the temple, however you imagine it, maybe the temple that is the world we wake up into each morning, doesn't feel so secure. It doesn't feel like it is assuring me what I hope. Do not forsake me. Do not abandon me, O God, my deliverer. And then probably one of the most beautiful and striking images to pop up in the Psalms so far. Though my father and mother abandon me, the Lord will take me in. That's one translation. Or the Lord will gather me in. So you can understand it in a more prosaic sense that even if I'm an orphan, I have a home where God will take me in. But the beauty of gather me in is a sense of taking all of me, everything, my strengths and my weaknesses, my frustrations and fears, and God draws you to her or to him. It's lovely. It gets quoted all the time in Jewish writings and Jewish liturgies. I personally prefer the Lord will gather me in, but at any moment when we feel alone, when we feel like an orphan, when we feel deserted, we invoke the promise that sooner or later, God will take us to himself, to herself, and we can have confidence in that. Show me your way, O Lord, and lead me on a level path. And then it concludes with a line that is not really decisive, simply a set of directions for how we proceed when we are fearful and doubtful. It concludes with, look to the Lord, be strong and of good courage. This is also a paraphrase of a quote from the book of Joshua, where Joshua is told, be strong and be resolute. Oh, look to the Lord. So it's more than a parallelism. It's look towards God, brace yourself, and strengthen yourself for the challenges ahead, and look again for God. And not stated, it's elliptical at the end, God will become visible to you. God will manifest to you if you just keep looking. Again, it's a psalm that takes us back and forth, I think, through the variable moods of what we feel when we're facing difficulties. Sometimes we are hopeful, sometimes we are dismayed, sometimes we have unreasonable expectations, and yet somehow they get fulfilled. It's a lovely, lovely psalm. And historically, at least Jews from Europe have recited this psalm every day of the month of Elul, just before the beginning of Rosh Hashanah. So for 30 days, this psalm is recited every day to help prepare us morally and spiritually for what is ahead. There is a new book from CCAR Press that is devoted entirely to Psalm 27. I will be absolutely honest. I have not read it. So this falls into the category of bullcrit. I can't critique it because I haven't read it, but I have no doubt that it's a very, very fine book. And if you're feeling like you want to read about Psalm 27 in great depths from many different perspectives, this is available to you. CCR Press, I don't remember her name. I remember looking at it and going, oh, I should read this, and then not reading it. So anyway, Psalm 27, a beautiful psalm when we're feeling put upon, neglected, ignored, forgotten, orphaned. Take care, everyone, and I will talk to you next week.